Oh man, you got a great setup here, Grandpa. What are we using the green screen for?
Just leave that to me.
Hey, who are you?
You don't remember me? We met at the family reunion a couple years ago. I'm your cousin Mel.
You're a third cousin. You're barely related.
You mean I'm not related, Grandpa? Dead or Alive is a fighting game series from Tecmo, developed nowadays by their in-house studio, Team Ninja. If that name sounds familiar, you might remember them from making the new Ninja Gaiden series, as well as trying to ruin the Metroid series. Dead or Alive is known for two things: a deep focus on fighting mechanics, and a deep focus on other things. Now, Dead or Alive 5 has an interesting story. And it's a good thing that this is one of the games that doesn't require you to play the entire series to understand it. Because quite frankly, I only ever played the first two before, and I don't remember much of the story outside of evil corporation is hosting a tournament to get the world's strongest fighters together so they can steal all their abilities and take over the world with the perfect fighter.
So the same story every other fighting game has used.
Yes, and it's kind of an odd way to take over the world when you think about it. Sir, we're under attack by an unknown assailant who has all the close combat abilities of those fighters from that tournament 3 weeks ago. We can't stop him.
Did you try shooting it?
Crisis averted, sir.
Good work, Private. Back to you, Bruce.
Yes, sir. So yeah, the story was kind of weak, but it could be worse. The WWE could have wrote it. During the story mode chapters of the game, they give history of what's happened with certain people up to that point, during the loading screens off on the right. And it catches you up really good to the present series. Helena owns the Doatech Corporation, after the HQ was blown up in Dead or Alive 4, and is trying to show the world she is ending their evil ways by holding a new fighting tournament.
Not the smartest board of directors they got there, huh? Hey everyone, here's an idea! We'll prove how good we are now by doing the same thing the evil version of our company's been doing all these years. It's a surefire win!
Meanwhile, in the background of this, a ninja clan is dealing with issues left over from the last game. Namely, trying to figure out what happened to clones that were made of some of their people. Some new characters are introduced as well, and I can say that with my limited experience of fighting game storylines, this game is doing a pretty good job of theirs. You actually care, or at least understand, about the motivations of most of the fighters, with a few exceptions. A fair warning on a spoiler alert here. Mute until the subtitle goes away if you don't want to hear it. Turns out Rig there might as well be called Wesker Jr. and is working with the bad guy organization Daddy made to continue the cloning projects. I wouldn't have a problem with it if it wasn't for the fact that he seems to exist in the game only for that reason, doing nothing of consequence except standing in an elevator at the end. But the story isn't damaged much by that issue, and the reveal that the tournament is a cover to help the ninjas infiltrate a hidden facility discovered under the oil rig it takes place on gave a reason for the yet another tournament angle of the story. The ninjas have a great plot twist involving the poster girl of the series, Kasumi, and cutscenes showcasing the relationships between the tournament fighters are very well done and help cement the idea that these are individual characters and not just guys and gals dressing up to punch each other. They even managed to include virtual fighter characters in the story without making them feel out of place.
Virtual fighter characters in this game? Holy crap, that's awesome! Can't wait to play as Doral, or Jeffrey, or Wolf.
They're not in here, but...
What?
Well, Akira and Jackie and Sarah Bryan are, but they're in here and they're very seamlessly integrated. Like, they don't feel out of place at all. I guess that's because of the similarities between the game engine, though.
Makes me wonder what I'm going to play as Devil Jin.
You mean the guy from Tekken?
He's already playing a virtual fighter character in Dead or Alive with the Street Fighter arcade stick. Let's not push this any closer to fan fiction than we have to, Billy.
Now, speaking of the fighting system, I'll give it praise as well. Recent additions to this game include sweat and dirt building up on your character as you fight and get knocked around, as well as the Power Blow, a desperation-style attack you can use when your life is in the red, to land a powerful combo that ends with aiming your opponent toward any variety of environmental hazards. I won't get too far into the technical aspects of the fighting system, mostly because I know jack all about this kind of stuff. But trust me when I say it's deep. A big part of it is counterholds, stances you can do which will not just block but deflect your opponent's attacks, and leave them wide open for your own attacks. The timing for it is tight, and there's 6 different inputs to use depending on if the attack was a high, medium, or low, punch, or kick. Now I did notice some of the characters have their own commands as well that would counterhold more than one attack, but I didn't try looking at the list of all the characters, so I don't know if they all have one of those or not. The mechanic, though, is illustrative of how much focus is given to the fighting mechanics, and how difficult it is to actually master them.
So are you saying this game's worth buying?
Yes and no. Eventually they released an updated re-release of the game called Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate. This version introduced a new attack similar to the Power Blow, but instead knocked them into the air for juggle combos. I find it an interesting addition that helps with strategies, but it has a very rough downside. Because of this update to the game, the original release of Dead or Alive 5 will not work with anything Ultimate or beyond. No online matches, no DLC, no upgrade to the re-release called Dead or Alive 5 Last Round.
Hold on, you can't just download a patch to upgrade it like with Street Fighter 4?
No. The new mechanics make it incompatible with online play to the Ultimate version and the Last Round version, so you kind of have no choice but to upgrade.
Would somebody please tell Team Ninja how the last 2 console generations have worked?
Now I grabbed Last Round on the Xbox One, and so far, aside from more characters, stages, and costumes freely unlocked in the game, the story mode seems to have dropped the missions the original game had. But when there are things like use a certain move 3 times, I do wonder of the point when the training mode is there to be used. Also, just as a side note, I want to bring to light that I bought and paid for the disc version of Last Round. I don't know how this works on the PS4, but I would like to know why if I bought the disc I have to download what appears to be unlock codes for each individual character on the roster.
Alright, I'm not surprised there's a thing to download some of the special features like extra soundtracks, but didn't this game just have to install itself on your hard drive?
Yeah, and this footage is on the tail end of about 20 or 30 minutes of downloading.
I repeat, would somebody please inform Team Ninja about how modern console gaming works?
On top of this, there are still more DLC costumes to purchase if you want your dangerously young-looking fighter to wear flowers instead of actual clothing. This requires an update to download the costumes so you can see them when other people fight with them, which I can understand. But here's the interesting thing. All those costumes I'm scrolling through, almost all of them are in the costume pack at the very end of the list, which bundles them all for $93.
What? Why?
Well, aside from fan service, some of them are pretty cool or funny looking.
Oh my god, I want to learn Jan Lee and make him wear that all the time.
But $100 for fake women wearing skimpy clothes? I can get a real woman with no clothes for that much.
Settle down. At this point in time, the game is so known for fan service, they may as well be backed into a corner with the costumes. It's almost expected at this point.
Yeah, and it does make me wonder. Are the girls wearing this stuff so they can distract their male opponents? Do they actually enjoy the costumes? Are fancy clothes like Helena's just so they don't get sensitive areas of their body squeezed tight? I mean, I know us guys have problems like that in certain other areas. And if the girls actually like wearing the clothes, should we be offended by it? Should I, as a man, be speaking on behalf of women and coming to their defense over this game's portrayal of them? Am I not in a position to know what I'm talking about, being a man? Is it more insulting to women out there to stand between them and this game, implying that they are too weak or unable to defend themselves from what they don't like? Oh man, being a social justice warrior is hard work.
This is why I'm a social justice mage.
Alright, let's see you defend this.
In an interview for the release of Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate, the developers were showing off a PS3 feature where shaking the 6-axis controller on the character select screen made the female fighter's breasts jiggle. Also, there are commands in each version of the game to change underwear colors and remove bras. I mean, this doesn't mean they're bad people or whatever. They could be just doing it as a tongue-in-cheek gag.
Whatever.
Despite all these issues of questionable severity, I do highly recommend the game, unless it's the PC version. The controls and animations are fluid, and if you have time to master it, the game is incredibly balanced from what I can tell. Even with the sexualized overtones, the story shows the characters are more mature than running around in skimpy clothes and being fan service. Or at least mostly.
Is she wearing jeans in the shower?
Yeah, okay, there's some moments, but there's also some really awesome moments too. And the story is definitely interesting to go through no matter who the focus is. I'd recommend getting the Ultimate or Last Round versions of the game if you want to get as many characters as you can and play online. But if you just want to go through the story alone, you can get away with the normal version of the game.
Wait, what was that you said earlier about not recommending the PC version?
At the time of the game's release on the PC, the developers said there wasn't going to be any online multiplayer for 3 months.
I'll go get the blood pressure medicine.
Are you kidding me? Team Ninja does know what the internet is, right? I mean, at this point, I'm assuming they've had many a late night learning the most intimate parts of the internet. How do they not release online play for a freaking multiplayer-focused game?
I don't know. Maybe they were distracted with other things for the game.
Like what?
I'm pretty sure I know. That was horrible.
I don't get it.
I'll tell you when you're older.
I'm sure you're a fine pilot. You just creep me out.